This is eMarketing 101, and my name is Angela Sasser, and I'll be your presenter. And this is basically just a rundown of different social media sites that I myself have used. I'm a freelance illustrator, mainly in fantasy, and I also do a little bit of leather crafting on the side. So all crafting and illustration together. And I actually went to SCAD for Arts Administration, Master's.
Yay, SCAD.
Yay, SCAD. So I kind of have a focus in marketing, and I love e-marketing because it's just so great. And I will hopefully tell you why it's so great in this presentation. So thank you for coming. Does anyone need handouts? Everybody's good? All right. Let the epicness begin. Yay. So, why do you need to be social online? Well, let me tell you. So you can be cool like this kid right here. That's why you need to be social online.
Man, he's styling.
He's styling. But more seriously, you need to realize that people expect you nowadays to have a website. You know, if you're like, well, hey, I draw stuff. Oh, can I look at your art online? And you say, no. You know, people kind of expect you to have an online presence now. And with social media, that makes it a lot easier. So we'll get to that. It's an easy way to build that online presence if you don't have website building knowledge, because coding breaks my brain too. I just don't really enjoy it, and I'd rather be doing art. So social networks make that a lot easier. It's easy access to you from customers, and you really got to have that, because it's just better if your customers can easily communicate with you. It can be fun. You know, there's so many great online artist communities that you can join, or in social networks you can talk to a bunch of different artists and meet them. It's like from online relationships can become real life relationships, in the non-romantic sense, but in the business sense. Yes. So the first site I'm going to talk about now is Twitter. And I have to admit that when I first heard about Twitter, I was like, man, that sounds so lame. Like, can you really? It's just like, you know, I'm having toast, you know. How useful can that be to go on Twitter?
It's true. She was.
But basically what Twitter is, for those who haven't heard of it, is it's basically you have 140 characters to say something online. So it's like a really small microblog. Microblogging is what it's called. And the other thing you can do on there is follow other users. So you have a stream of just microblogs from everybody that you follow, and then they can follow you back. And I can actually surf to these sites and show you too if anyone is confused about that. I also like it because when you're on Twitter, you can chat to people, and if you don't respond, it's okay, because it's not like instant messaging where you have you have a window and you have to answer this message or your friend will hate you forever. You know, Twitter is not as instant as instant messaging, so there's not that guilt there if you would rather be working and kind of don't want to have to interact on instant messaging. Next, you have hashtags. So if any of you have been on Twitter already and see the word with the little
It's called a pound sign.
what?
Pound sign, dear.
Thank you, the pound sign. Sorry, I've not enough sleep this weekend. The pound sign, it's basically creates a link. So any post with that hashtag in it will show up. And this is useful because when you go on Twitter, you can create your own hashtags. Like Friday Night Art Dorks is a really popular one. So anyone who posts with Friday Night Art Dorks in their post will show up in this stream with everybody else. So it's a way to like really start a trend. Any questions so far on Twitter? Yes.
I set up a Twitter account for my business. I have no idea what hashtags. They don't make sense to me. So how do you know like what to use?
What
is
to
it
use
like?
for?
Yeah, is a hashtag like relating to another Twitter group, or what is? I don't understand.
A hashtag can be anything. Like it can be. That's the fun of them, is that you can create your own just by putting any random word after the pound sign.
So is it kind of like a keyword that people search on?
Exactly.
So it doesn't need to be other hashtags that other people are using. It doesn't need to match.
Nope. It doesn't have to be pre-existing. You can even just put hashtag artist, and it'll bring up any post that has hashtag artist in it.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody? because I can show you in action too.
Go for it.
Yeah, let's show you in action. What that is.
Action demo.
Dun, 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 dun,
I'll
dun,
have to go back
dun.
and intro that.
Do, 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 do. Gotcha.
Because I saw the funniest hashtag.
Do we even have wireless availability here?
Oh, we did. That's right.
Check and see if there's an open network.
Let's see if we have an open network. There's I've been
Don't-
conference. Let's see.
He'll probably have to.
You're not joining. Oh.
Ah, we are in the basement.
I guess we can't tether with a phone because nobody gets service down here.
Yeah.
Well, well, just trust me that it's awesome. And go home tonight and look at twitter.com and type in ghetto hurricane names. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty great. I have to
Some
admit.
people could just create trends like that.
A hurricane named Slipback.
A hurricane named Slipback?
You got to say the whole thing.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, back to Twitter. Okay, next page on Twitter. Another cool thing about it is if you have the smartphones, you can get a Twitter app and just text right from your phone, read right from your phone. And that is why it's been so powerful in this modern age. People have been organizing peaceful marches, revolutions. It's just so easy to communicate with Twitter now because it's so quick and easy to take with you everywhere. And,
We have several phone apps.
although the danger is you can get addicted to tweeting too, so you gotta be careful about that.
I'm eating toast.
Yes, no, I'm eating toast posts. The cool thing about Twitter profiles is that you join, you put in your name, you can put in your website, you can put in your interests. And why that's cool is because Twitter will look at your interests and tell people who have similar interests to follow you. So I found so many cool artists just by looking at you might like to follow these people. So that's pretty cool. And it also gets you search engine hits. So, and on the handout I've given you guys, there's further reading on that explains what hashtags are, how to use them, and other handy tips for artists. So you can read more details about Twitter at that link to Mashable. So any questions on Twitter before we go? Any cool experiences with Twitter that you want to share?
Ghetto hurricane names.
Yes. Yes.
I just want to mention, just from a purely entertainment value on Twitter, Twitter is a lot like being at a cocktail party with everybody in the internet.
Yes, it is.
You can just watch like the Mythbusters guys and Will Wheaton having an argument about who makes the best ramen noodles.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a lot of fun to just hang out there. Besides the social marketing value, but if you post interesting and original stuff of your own, you'll start getting people following you just to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I agree.
Helps a lot with the whole marketing.
I think that's another advantage of having 140 characters to say something is because it forces you to cut back and just stick to the point and stick to what is fun, and it makes all of your posts relevant. I do have a cool Twitter story. Last year, we had to organize a panel called Monster in an Hour, very last minute. And I was trying to desperately find artists to come and draw monsters with me. So I just put out a call on Twitter, and people retweeted it, which means they just reposted it. And I managed to round up all the artists just from talking to friends and talking on Twitter. They're like, hey, I'm going to DragonCon. I'll come to your panel and help out. So it was pretty cool. And I got to meet a lot of people in person who were on Twitter. So that's my amazing Twitter story.
And the game of telephone works a lot better on Twitter.
Yes. So, moving on to the Facebook.
Ugh.
I know a lot of people have that
Hot chambers,
reaction
please.
because, it's just, I didn't want to join Facebook either because it just seems like it was just one of those silly trends. People are not posting relevant information. They're posting about toast. But I have to admit, now that I've joined it and finally learned what it's about, it's been the core glue of my business. And it started out as a way for college students to organize, don't you say anything. And now everybody uses it to keep up with their friends and family. And there are actually different types of accounts you can start there. There's the personal account, which is what, default, what you get. But there's also a fan page, which you have to start an account first to start the fan page. And what that is it's basically a website within Facebook that lets you share videos, it lets you share links. Come on in. I have handouts for you.
She doesn't bite much.
No, not too much.
Only on Tuesdays.
Thank you. But basically on these pages you can share videos, which is great. I think there's like a 1 gig video size limit. It's also loads a bit faster than YouTube, I noticed. But anyway, videos, you can integrate it with other social media sites. So if you're lazy like me and don't want to post, I am making art on various sites, you can hook your Twitter up with Facebook, and it'll auto-post anything you say on Twitter to Facebook. And I think on the handout, I linked to a place that says how to do that, I think. If not, you can probably look on Google for a tutorial. But I'm just letting you know that the functionality is there. And again, like I said, the time-saving aspect is so great, because if you have a lot of work to do, and you wouldn't want to be in the studio, it's best to link up your Facebook with Twitter and Blogger and all of those, so you can have it auto-post when you do a new blog. And fan pages versus personal accounts. A fan page is great because it can have an unlimited amount of friends, unlike a personal account, which I think it's in the thousands, like maybe 10,000.
Oh, gee.
Only
They're not
10,000.
your friends.
How much is it? 5,000? Thank you. And if you really, I know people who have surpassed the 5,000 limit. So if you are just that awesome and don't want a friend limit, get a fan page. The other cool thing about fan pages is on your personal accounts, you can't see them if you're not logged in. So casual viewers can't just go to your artwork album and look at it. On a fan page, everyone can come and look at it. So it's the advantage of not having to log in, so you can link everyone directly to it. And the cool thing is, if you really don't want everybody and their brother knowing all of your personal posts on Facebook, the fan page is a great way to be anonymous. Because if you don't have to have a personal account to start a fan page, you can just start a pseudonym personal account to make the page if you want to be completely anonymous. And I know that's a big worry a lot of people have about Facebook, is they don't want everybody to know their personal business or information. So another reason to get a fan page. And there's a link here for further reading, and it's about fan page versus account versus group. I wasn't going to talk about groups, but I guess, I'll go ahead and talk about groups anyway, because group is another thing. I don't use it personally, but a group is basically, you can start a private group or a public group, and it's just a way to be more interactive than a fan page. But I'm lazy and I don't have time to come and interact that much, so a group is only if you have the time to moderate a bunch of people. Oh, another thing about fan pages, another great advantage is you can have multiple admins. So if you're in a collaborative studio with artists, or you have someone who runs your business side, you can have them admin your fan page. So that is also useful. That was a big info dump. So are there specific questions about what a fan page is and how it can help you, or any experiences people want to share about it? We all good? Yes.
I've never seen any fan pages before on Facebook, but that's probably because I'm not on Facebook that much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of wondering, how do I start one? Is it pretty easy from the account?
Yes, it's pretty easy.
It's even in their FAQ, I think.
Yeah, they have a back on it if you look that up, and it's you don't even have to go through an approval process. At least the last time I did it, you don't. You just go to create business page, and it lets you create a custom name. Like mine is Angelic Shade Studio. So it just goes facebook.com/Angelic Shade Studio.
And it just keeps you separate from your personal account.
Keeps you separate. Very handy.
It's important to note that you have to have at least 25 people following you before you get to have that custom name.
Oh, that's
so when
true.
you're starting your name, before you
get all
hit that
your
25
friends.
people, you better make sure it's what you want.
Yes. The lady in the back.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I do have my own design studio, and I have a Facebook fan page that I built for 2 months ago. It's a really nice, simple process. I was able to upload images and create portfolios and all of this stuff. So my question is, and I might be outside the scope of this conversation, but I'd like to be able to customize it a bit more. I'm reasonably familiar with code. I can get in there, tweak it a bit. And I was just wondering if you had the time, you could discuss that a little bit. Because I wasn't sure how to initially, get started.
Customization, I know there are apps that you can get to create custom landing pages in your profile, but I'm assuming you're talking about visual customization.
Yeah, like if I wanted to, oftentimes, and just give a very simple example, if I wanted to have a larger image of the top, for example, oftentimes I've seen like the landing page for, Facebook page for business or organization.
They have Facebook is doing this new thing where they have a custom page layout template where it'll be on the left, it'll say, it's called like page profile or super profile.
Oh, okay.
And you can go in there and create a big header and create your background. They're integrating that within Facebook and fan pages right now. So it's like a green and blue S you'll see on your page. So it's pretty cool. That's an easier way to do it. But there's also CSS if you said you weren't afraid of coding, but they have CSS. So I couldn't tell you exactly what the code is for the header, but just look up CSS markup and it should tell you.
Okay. If you create a fan page off of your personal account, is there a way like that people will link back to you?
You're under the moon.
If you tag yourself in your pictures or upload, it'll say uploaded. I think it will say uploaded by. So if you really don't want your name connected to your fan page at all, create another personal account.
Okay.
That's a pseudonym. Like a lot of artists I know, they'll do their real name and art, like Angela Sasser art, and then the fan page will connect only to that. So it helps us to keep it all private. No question? Did you have a question?
Oh, I was just going to ask, I really dislike the image viewer of Facebook, and it keeps getting worse as they update it.
I have to agree with that, yeah. I don't like that.
I was wondering if there are any instances, of fan pages using other, like linking to images in some other third-party site or something like that we can do to get slightly higher quality resolution for people to look at.
Unfortunately, within Facebook, there's not another picture viewer we can default to. But if you want to get around that, just upload it to PhotoBucket, PhotoBucket or Picasa or your preferred image service, and just do a link to it.
Okay.
Because when you link to that picture, there'll be a thumbnail that's attached to your post link. So that's a good way to have people still see the image, but then go somewhere else instead of the crappy Flash viewer.
Gotcha. And so once you do that, is there any way to sort of archive these things in a set of thumbnail images somewhere instead of somebody having to scroll through your entire posting history to look at all the thumbnails and go to the links? You see what I'm saying?
I know that in the Facebook pages on the left, they keep changing the layout, but they do have a link archive where it shows what you've linked to.
Oh, okay.
Or you can also make a text box or maybe create a tab within your page that has a link to all of, like a list of where your pictures are or where your portfolio albums are.
Awesome.
That might be a good way to do
Yeah,
it.
you could create a portfolio of thumbnails,
Mm-hmm.
and then below each thumbnail, add in the URL. To see
That's a good
the full-size
idea.
Image, yes, and I'd recommend Flickr would be great.
Okay, well, thank you.
Awesome. Are there any other questions about Facebook? Okay. now we get on to Blogger. And Blogger is owned by Google. It's also known as Blogspot. And because it's owned by Google, you can integrate it with your Google profile, with Google+, with anything Google, which makes it really handy. And YouTube, which is also owned by Google. So that's a really big advantage of it, is that it's so integratable with everything. If you're not sure what to blog about, because I know that's a big problem for some of us who haven't jumped into blogging yet. Most artists I know chat about art, of course, but they share their works in progress. They share advice with other artists, like, you know, on marketing, or when you're in an artist blog, what do you do? I know that seems like everybody writes about that, but everybody has their own perspective as well. So it's always good to share your experiences. And the reason that's good to do is because, again, when your fans or customers come to your website, it's just great to put yourself forth as someone who's willing to share, as a teacher, except people just really like that you're open. And also, again, if you're a slow worker like I am, and you don't always have new art to put on your front page, then having a link with your blog posts at least makes it look like you're active in doing something. So art directors like that there's something new on your webpage. If it's not art, then a blog post. Just something to show that you're busy. Yes, and reading other blogs. Not just write, but read. There's some great blogs out there that help you keep up and up on your industry. And if you don't know who people are in your industry, or you just, when you're looking for a job, you got to know your companies, you got to know what your competition is. So blogs are a great way to keep up with that lifeblood of the art industry. Oh, if you don't like Blogspot, because when you get a blog on Blogger, it'll be like blah blah blah.blogspot.com. And if you don't like Blogspot, there's a functionality to put your own domain name. Like, example, mine is blog.angelicshades.com. So you can just customize it instead of going with the dorky Blogspot name. Any questions before I move on? Blogs of note. There's a great blog called Art Order. You guys are cool. It's called Art Order, and it's ran by John Genedette, and he's the art director at Wizards of the Coast. And if you guys don't know Wizards of the Coast, they do Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons. They do a lot of cool fantasy stuff. And I'd love to work for those guys. And what they do on the Art Order blog is they run challenges that are written just like they are if you were getting a job with Wizards of the Coast. So they'll be like, this week we want you to draw a drow doing this, and they'll judge that challenge with other artists in the industry. So you'll be seen by all of these art directors who look and judge the challenges. So great visibility there at Art Order, and it's just fun and gives you a lot of practice at the same time. So get seen. Muddy Colors at Blogspot is ran by a cast of really cool artists that you guys should check out, like Dan Dos Santos and Donato Giancola. And they rotate out every now and again to keep it fresh. But these are like top industry pros that come and talk about their processes. They share new work. I mean, it's just a really great blog to read. So Muddy Colors at Blogspot. And I've linked to another article for you guys for further reading from this panel that is about why artists should blog. And I think it also goes into why you shouldn't blog too. But it's definitely good to read more about what you should blog about, and if you don't have any ideas, it gives you more ideas on that. So any notes, any questions about blogging? Oh, did you have your hand up?
Just
Yes.
a quick question.
Sure.
As you get further along in the process, there's a lot of discussion oftentimes in the design community about eventually getting to the point where you get more followers of monetizing.
Oh, yes.
Meaning that you can actually have advertising. I mean, to me, this seems like it'd be such an in-depth pursuit that you have to abandon your primary profession, But Almost. But I was wondering if you might be able to speak to that. Just because it seems like I said, it seems like a little bit of a bridge. But
Blogging. Actually, no, that's really good. That's something I should have added to this, is that blogging, a way to manage yourself with blogging, because it's easy to get really carried away and be like, I'm going to post Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Because blogging, sometimes the posts take me upwards of 4 hours to compile, especially if there's a lot of research. So you got to try to schedule yourself. Like, I post once a week to twice a week, and I try to make it the same day a week, just so I know to come back and do it. Make myself do it and keep up with the blog, because it really does help with your visibility. You can monetize a blog with ads, but I just personally dislike ads and things. But Google will let you put AdWords, like, you know, rotating ads that kind of are tailored for your viewers within the structure of your blog. So you can do that, but I don't know, a lot of people don't like ads, and they block them anyway. So, like with Firefox ad block, a lot of people do block them. So you might, and there's no harm in trying, I guess, if you don't mind it. I would recommend putting it at the bottom so it doesn't interfere with your information. So, does anyone have a cool blog they want to recommend to everybody? Anything cool? Yes.
There's one I like, and it just has like different kind of art and design, just really cool stuff, and it's called CMY Bacon, like CMYK only bacon.
That's funny.
And I randomly found it, and there's so much really cool stuff on it. I love it, and he updates like a pretty good amount, so there's always something cool on there.
Is it like, what kind of art? Is it fantasy, or is it everything?
It's a lot of design sort of stuff. So he'll have like he'll do cool furniture. He'll have like typography stuff. He'll just have cool artists in general. It's just kind of art and design. And it's really neat.
Cool. CMY Bacon. Is that at Blogspot or
no,
.blogspot?
it's just like CMY Bacon. I think .com.
Okay.
I've bookmarked it so long. I just go get it.
I'll have to check that one out. That sounds, the name alone is just really catchy.
I know.
And that's another thing that a lot of us have trouble with, is trying to come up with a title for our blogs. And it does boil down to personal preference, but just trying to get something catchy, maybe related to your studio name. That's the way I went. I was just like, okay, my studio's Angelic Shades, I'll just be blog.angelic shades. So you don't have to be like overly creative. But it does help, like CMY Bacon, if you have a cool name like that, go for it. Alright, wrapping up the blogs. And I actually didn't add Google Plus because it's only just come out, but I feel like I need to ramble about that before I get to the end. So Google Plus, has anyone gotten into that yet? Yes. I've just started using it too. It's still kind of in beta, but a lot of people are saying that it's turning into a replacement for Facebook, like a cleaner version of Facebook. I don't think there's any ads yet. There's the games are all hidden in their own stream, so you can disable them completely if you don't want.
Thank you, Lord.
Picking turnips in Farmville, you know.
500 things of picking turnips in Farmville. We don't care.
Yeah, so it seems pretty smooth right now. And there's also, in Google Plus, there's circles. It's kind of like Etsy, if anyone's used Etsy, where you can add artists to your circle. So it's basically like, say I want to add a circle with just people who are my fans. And so I could make a circle called My Fans. And when I post to that circle, they're the only ones who will see that specialized post tailored for them. So it's really powerful in that you can make private circles and keep the spam away from your other circles. I really wish we had internet so I could show you guys this stuff, but it's pretty powerful. Yes?
There's a gallery site that's something with LinkedIn called Behance.net. It has a very similar function that I get alerts when someone in my circle posts something new, but not from LinkedIn.
That's pretty cool. I'll have to remember that one because I've heard of it, but I have not used it yet. So
You can host a gallery for free.
Really?
I mean, it customizes your picture to fit their template, and they're trying to get they want you to pay a fee to, you know, mess with the format and stuff.
So there's like premium options
Right,
to
there's
it.
premium options, but it's a free service.
It's Behance.
Oh, yeah, you said that's online portfolio.
Behance.net.
Yes.
Yeah, you can link it to your LinkedIn account so that when you, anyone who's your friend on LinkedIn can get the same alert.
Oh, cool. So is it ran by LinkedIn?
No, it's
just partnered?
Yeah, kind of partnered.
What's the name of that again?
Behance.
Behance.
Cool. I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Yeah, what would you recommend for artists who have to use a moniker? And because I know Facebook and Google Plus are, well, I don't know about Google Plus, but you know, Facebook and Google Plus, you're supposed to only use your real name, and you know, if you live in a community or if you have a job that kind of monitors or watches out for that kind of thing, because I know there have been a lot of reports about teachers, you know, posting stuff on their Facebook, even if it isn't art, like it's like maybe an opinion they have or something, and their students will see it, and then they get in trouble at their school or whatever. So, I mean, if an artist has to use a moniker, can they still get on Facebook or get on Google Plus? And because they take those down, I hear.
Google Plus does take the pages down, but I think that is because they're starting a new site just for business names. So I think they're trying to keep it clean right now so people with pseudonym business names can join their other business-oriented network that's coming out. And they say that's supposed to be up in a few months. I don't believe them, but just keep an eye out for the business side. But they do take down, if you're using a pseudonym on Google+, they will take it down.
Okay, so Facebook, I'm safe. I don't have
Facebook, you are safe.
Actually, Google Plus, if it's a good enough moniker that it looks real, you can get away with it.
You can?
Because I have a few friends who have done that. But it's like, if it looks like it's a real name, then it can count. But if it's, I don't know if anyone calls it fake Grimlock, didn't get through with that. But things like that, if it looks like a real name, and they can't tell.
Yeah, I guess it's just, you're kind of out if you have a fun name like Professor Cool Art Stuff. You know, it's, you can't get through with that, which takes all the fun, because who wants to be like Joe Smith, you know? So, I don't know. Hopefully they'll be less... Hopefully they'll be less strict about it once the business name comes out. But Facebook, you're safe. Because I've had friends who've changed names like 20 times because they're just like, I don't like that name anymore, I'm going to go to another one. So yes, safe. And fan page, you can, that's another thing about fan pages, you can create multiple fan pages. So if you're a multifaceted artist and like, see, I do illustration, but I also do leather crafting, I could start another page just for my leather crafting, or just for, you know, any different kind of art that you do. So, it's cool stuff. And, well, I think I kind of blitzed through all of my topics really super fast. But, you gotta do word of mouth too, because in the end, that is the most powerful marketing tool, is to go out and talk to people, talk to your friends, because you're gonna trust what a friend says over anybody else first. So, word of mouth. Talk to real people every now and again.
Why?
And just get yourself out there. Like the gentleman was handing out flyers before the panel. It's good to do that. Just go up and, because people, when they see you face to face, they'll see your face and remember you, hopefully. So, there's something else I wanted to mention to you guys. No, I can't remember. But basically, if you guys want to check out my website and see how I've set up myself, because when I did arts administration for SCAD, I did an experiment where I joined these different networks. It's where a lot of the information from this panel comes from. I joined a lot of networks to try and see the effectiveness for how they could affect my business. And right out of graduation, after I wrote that thesis on the different e-marketings, I got picked up for a book because they found my images on Google. So when you join, another reason to go online and share your work online is because these search engines will pick up your website, they'll pick up your images, and a lot of art directors and businesses are searching the web for artists. Yes?
Real quick question.
Go ahead.
What do you recommend in terms of driving traffic, so say driving traffic to your blog?
Driving traffic to the blog.
Yeah.
I
understand. I have my own site. I have a portfolio site. I have WordPress, beginning to WordPress blog. Also have a portfolio on Behance. So I'm fairly active online. I have my own page, stuff like that. So, but and all this is linked through the homepage of my portfolio site, my studio. But I just want any recommendation to you for just driving things. I know linking to things, posting on other people's, retweeting, for example. But just any other recommendations you might have.
What I do personally is to drive traffic to my blog. When I post a new post, I go to Twitter and put a little summary, like say, put the title of the blog in the Twitter and a summary of what I was talking about in that blog post and link to the blog post. So Twitter will grab about like 50 to 100 people. And then, because Twitter is linked with Facebook for me, it posts to Facebook as well. And a great app on Facebook is Connected Blogs. And if you join that, you can have it auto-post from your blog feed to your Facebook personal account and your fan page. You don't have to do anything. It auto does it for you. So that's Connected Blogs. Isn't it, Steph? I think you've seen it. Well, it's called Connected Blogs. It's an app. And
DeviantArt.
DeviantArt, yes. I go to DeviantArt and post. Do you guys know what DeviantArt is? Everybody? Anybody not know what DeviantArt is? Okay, DeviantArt, DeviantArt.com it's like, I hate to make this comparison, it's like MySpace for artists, except
It's not dead.
It's not dead. It's
10 times the drama.
yeah, there's drama and everything, but it's still just a great place to keep up with instant notifications with artists.
And you get a pretty good amount of like perks for being a free member,
Yeah.
even without paying.
You basically can put other artists on your watch list and see everything new that they do, blog post, art, everything. Do you have a question?
Are there like copyright issues with DeviantArt? I've just heard some sort of things. It makes me nervous.
People can steal your art from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, DeviantArt's doing a lot to sort of protect against that, more so than like PhotoBucket or Flickr. But it's still, it can happen
I
anywhere.
realize anyone can steal any of your stuff, but I was more concerned with like DeviantArt themselves, like using it or like.
They actually don't take any of the rights to your images.
Okay.
The only reason they would even use it would be if you want a contest with them. And then they get rights to use it, but they get rights to like print T-shirts of it, but you do not lose rights of it. You can also print T-shirts. You can also use it to promote
They
yourself.
even let you define your copyright, the type of copyright there is. Like if you want to allow people to color, you can set if you have a copyright notice that comes up under the image that you can customize. So it can be a free license, a reuse license. There's different licenses they let you put a notice about. So they're actually very stickler about copyright.
Okay.
But to wrap up your question, DeviantArt. I'll go to DeviantArt and say, this is my blog post and link to it. So all of those, I like blitz across the board, and that's how I get views.
Actually, what you do is you post about a paragraph or two of your blog that you
Right.
put, and you're like, oh, do you want to read more? Go look at my website.
Yeah, I'm a
Sneaky.
tease that way. I just put a little bit, and then that draws people to the blog. That's another way to draw it all to one place instead of just posting the whole thing everywhere else. You kind of preview it and link to the one place. Yes?
Is there anything in social media that you started doing and now don't do because you found it didn't work?
MySpace.
Let me put the pen down because I'm going to fling it at someone. I just lied. Yeah, actually, you're right. I joined MySpace. MySpace was the very first website I joined. And I just started getting messages like, hey, check out my new album. Hey, you sure are hot. It's like, I couldn't stand it anymore. So my MySpace I left it years ago. But the profile is up, but I never check it. So
Live journal.
once a site gets so much spam, I leave it. Facebook is borderline, but the reason why I stick with Facebook is because you can block certain notifications. Like if you're tired of seeing Farmville, you can go ignore all requests from Farmville, and it'll just block them all. So that's the power of Facebook, is that you can choose what to block and what not to block. So MySpace. I also made the mistake of, I'm going to join every fantasy gallery online in existence and try to update all of them. Bad idea to join everything that you can. I would say join a few places that you are comfortable with and keep those active. Or maybe if you do join those other sites, put up your best work, because if you know you're going to abandon that site like a week later, at least your best work is there and getting you hits on Google. So don't overload yourself by thinking you can do every single online art site ever. Just try to focus on like 3 or 4. And that's why I only have that many in this presentation. Yes?
What other online art sites besides DeviantArt have you found helpful or particularly like?
Another one I started with, I know it's so dated by now, is Elfwood. Who has an Elfwood? Raise your hand. Oh,
No, I got rid of
just
mine.
nostalgic thinking about
I got rid of
Elfwood.
mine.
I joined that in high school. It was the very first art community I ever joined. And while I don't update it as actively as I used to in high school, I've heard from art directors, yes, they actually do look at Elfwood and DeviantArt and Epilogue, because that's where a lot of younger art fans that they're catering their products to go. So yes, companies do study those websites, yes.
So maybe you talked about it, I came in a few minutes late, but
sure.
do you ever do a live stream or post videos to YouTube of you actually working?
Yes. Yes, I should have added live streams. This is, I have to apologize because this is the first time I've done this panel, and I thought, oh man, it's going to take me forever to do those other topics, so I thought I would get...
Condense it.
Yeah, I condensed too much. But to live stream, I actually just started live stream. If you're curious, my live stream name is Angelic Shades. But it's so cool because they have an integrated webcam program that it'll snag video from your webcam and stream it online. And you can also record whatever you stream on live stream. And it's all real time, and there's a chat window where you can chat to people who are in your live stream channel watching you. It's just a great way to get fans there and interacting. You could do like art drawings if you want to announce your winners live if you're doing a giveaway. It's a pretty cool way to use live stream. And only thing is, I think they have space limits, but I can't quite remember the exact space limits. They're pretty high though. So it's cool. I've seen a lot of people using that. I've used it to show people how to make leather masks. So I've got a few videos up on doing that. So you have the internet speed and the webcam, go for it. Live stream's been really effective for a lot of people that I know. And branching off that, YouTube. I mean, it's just amazing how many people have found me through YouTube just because everybody goes there when they're bored. It's like, oh, I'm waiting in line, I'm watching YouTube on my phone, you know. The smartphones are just really changing the industry. But yeah, YouTube, I put everything that I put up on Facebook, my Facebook videos goes to YouTube. So you can put up tutorials. You can even monetize your YouTube with little embedded Google ads. Get some money that way.
You can also make montages of your work.
Yes, there are video portfolios, and you can use some simple video editing programs. Photoshop even does animation. If you go into the View panel and go to Animation panel, you can do simple animations in Photoshop. And then use the program to convert that to a video. On the Mac, there's the what is it called? iVideo?
iChat.
No, not iChat, the video. iMovie.
Oh, iMovie. I thought you were talking about a chat program.
iMovie, I've heard, is really, really good for simple videos. It'll do automatic. They're like, do you want to do a slideshow? You can dump all your images in there and it'll automatically make a slideshow for you. So that is cool. And I personally use this crappy program that came with my camera because it's the only thing that my camera files will be opened in. So.
Trying to get you off that for years now.
Yeah. Anybody else have any good recommendations for video editing programs? Anybody?
Yeah, there's, I wish I could I can't remember the dang name of the ones I got, but, there's, it's iMovie, and there's another one that, HDU or something like that, for Mac. It's the high definition version of it. But they make another one. But it really does very well for splicing video screenshots.
What's it called,
and other things.
HDU?
Yeah, it's like HD, the letter U. I'll have to check it again, but you just have to look up Mac video editing software for free.
So back there and then back there. What was your question?
They released a new version of Final Cut, which is really easy to use.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, it doesn't, like, while it's really user-friendly, it's not as, it doesn't have as many of the professional tools as previous versions. So,
Final Cut.
if you're looking for something really new, it's Final Cut.
Okay, thank you. Here and then here. What was your question?
I was just me. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought
I
some.
just have other software recommendations.
Oh, okay.
What's that? Which
Go.
one?
No, mine's not
Yeah.
relevant to
Got
this.
it, got it. I prefer Final Cut, but Adobe Premiere and Sony Vegas are really good ones as well.
I've heard good things about Premiere. I've tried to use it, but there's so many panels that I get. But I know it's powerful, so I'm gonna keep trying to learn how to use that one.
Whichever one you like to look at,
Yeah.
that's the one you use.
I guess I'll. What was your question?
I was just wondering if you use Etsy at all. Do you have your experience with that?
Yes, Etsy. Etsy is for crafters. It's a crafting market. But if you're an artist and you sell originals, you can still go on Etsy and sell your work. You can sell your prints. Any products that have art on them, you can sell those too. So Etsy gets a lot of views. Every other craft site I've joined, they just don't get the press that Etsy does. So I really recommend that for those of you who are into the crafting market or just want to sell your original artwork.
How do you spell that?
Etsy is etsy.com. And they've also integrated this whole functionality where you can add people to your circle, just like in Google+. So it's really powerful in that you add someone to your circle, you can see what cool stuff that they're favoriting or their favorite shops. So it keeps the recommendations going to everyone that sees your products. It's really cool. Yes.
Have you used Felt and Wire?
I'm sorry?
Are you familiar with Felt and Wire? Just along the same lines.
I have not
They're
heard of that.
similar in approach to Etsy and allows you to sell fine art and crafts.
It's called, spell it for
Felt
us.
and Wire, like F-E-L-T, Felt
Mhm.
and Wire.
Felt and wire.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah. I heard about it through our local design organization. We were selling work on it.
Do you mind sharing how much you sold on there for us, or is there like a monthly?
I don't know that we have sold that much, but I know that Felt and Wire is a internationally known site for doing it. So just something else to explore. I'm just curious if you've had experience.
I have not, and I have to wonder now. Do they let you import your items from Etsy? Because a lot of sites will let you do that now.
I don't know if it has that level of functionality, but it very well might. I mean, it's supposed to be fairly well built out, fairly robust. I don't. I'm trying to remember if it's being run by Veer. I think Veer, the huge type foundry. Veer, they sell beautiful high-end stock images. They sell fonts. Veer.com.
Spell that one for us.
V-E-E-R.
I have not heard of
Tremendous
that.
resource for designers.
That's
Veer's
awesome.
one. Yeah, they sell type. They sell typefaces, photography, images. I think Veer runs Felt and Wire. So
I'll have to
it's
check that
fairly
out.
well built out, fairly robust.
See, I love stuff like this. Comparing, cause there's always something new coming out online. Yours was the first hand I saw, and then we'll come back to the front.
I'm working with friends on some self-publishing for fantasy fiction. I'm just wondering if anybody has suggestions on places for free or low-cost artwork to enhance the website.
Free or low cost artwork.
I'll do low-cost artwork.
Yeah, there's all rewards here. Free or low-cost artwork. I want to say that I know DeviantArt does have a stock resource section, but that's more photos and they have like patterns and graphics. Are you talking about like character-based art or like
At this point,
objects?
I don't even know yet. We're just getting started. So.
You could get into DeviantArt's resource section because they have a lot of people who just offer it for free. And if you want something custom, you can pay them generally a pretty low fee, and they can make you something custom.
Yeah.
So check out DeviantArt's resource category. So, and then every person has their own stock rules, so be sure to read those before you grab something too. So, yeah, check out DeviantArt. I'm trying to think. iStock has good, just all sorts of images. You check that one or?
No, I haven't.
Okay, yeah,
If
iStock.
you go to Flickr and type in Creative Commons, again, each one has its own rules, but there's a ton of stuff out there.
Cool. Okay, so questions. I think who had one up here? Right?
Yours first.
Okay, you first.
How do you decide what to like price your services or your art?
The age-old question.
That's a whole other
Do you
panel.
think it's better to put prices, general pricing on your site, or should you just say contact me?
I like to have as much information available for people as possible just from the start. So I like to put prices or at least a price range. Like, for example, you do custom work and you're not sure if it's going to be more or less, just put a range and say, I do this and I also do this, and these are my price ranges for each type of customization. Like for art, I have it broken down on my commission page between illustrations and crafts and commercial use. You know, I'll put a notice saying commercial use is a little more. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, no,
Okay, great. Was there? Did you have a question earlier? I think.
You still have, I didn't know if there was any further info on his.
Well, pricing. I think that's. I might as well since we have time. Pricing is very much unique to the artist. I feel like you have to gauge your skill level. I think is the most important thing to do first is to be very honest about your skill level. Look up artists who are at your skill level and see what they're charging. See what your competition is, and also remember that if something looks like you put a lot of time in it and it looks expensive, don't underprice that because people, it's all about perceived value, you know. You've got to charge what it looks like it's worth. And is that helpful? Like,
It also makes a difference if you're licensing your image.
Yes,
If you're taking
yes.
copyright or if you're selling a company or individual copyright.
right. If you're selling a usage license, you have to make a note of that too. But I mean,
They're
like,
not
what?
charging less to license, but if they want to own the copyright, they're going to charge more.
Right. And I think it differs per industry too. Like, just going back to the issue of generic pricing, if you're doing crafting, I think people are perhaps more willing to pay for handicrafts because it's something you can use, and because again, a perceived value of, hey, I can use this, and it's handcrafted. That's another advantage of posting on Etsy, is that it's a whole handcrafted market. So, I mean, what are you trying to price specifically?
Well, I'm actually I'm a DJ.
DJ.
I was kind of taking a different angle for the question.
Oh, okay, cool. Like for crafting, personally, I do a pricing scheme of, okay, this took me this many hours. I try to kind of stick in the you know, minimum wage per hour, maybe like $12, and also take my material cost and multiply it by 2 or 3, plus the hours. And then I have the price I should be charging for this, but then I go to Etsy and look at my competition and go higher or lower based on what my competition is. So it's all kind of relative. So, oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Do you have like a newsletter that you email out, like for the sign-ups and all that?
Yes, I do use. Thank you. That is a super awesome topic that I should have added. Newsletters are a great way to keep up with people, and the only danger of that is that people get so much email, that's probably why I left it off, is that everyone gets so much email these days that they're just going to be like, oh, some more junk mail trying to sell me stuff, delete. So I focus more on instant things that I can interact with people on, but I do a quarterly newsletter just for the people who do read email.
So do you just send that out through your email address? Like you just make an email list, or do you actually like have a service that you pay for?
I have a service that is free, and I'm going to tell you all about it because it's the greatest service ever. It's called MailChimp. MailChimp, chimp, and it has a chimp with a banana on it. And it sounds really stupid, but it's actually this great free service where you can create your own mailing lists, and it lets you monitor how many clicks you're getting on your newsletter, how many people are opening it, what your percentage is in comparison to other people in your industry. It also lets you create a template. It has an easy template maker in it. So you can make all of your emails to people customized for a holiday or for your studio with pretty artwork in it. And yes.
Have you used Emma? No, I'm curious, I've used Emma a lot, and I was wondering how you got it compared. Not for saying on my own newsletter, but for designing things for clients or for AIGA. You know.
Spell it for me.
Emma, it's EMMA. It's the name, like the girl's name, Emma.
I have not heard of that one. See, you're just awesome. You can come up here with me.
Emma's been around for a long time. It's Nashville, and it is one of the leading email marketers, much better than Constant Contact, and it's very customizable, and has significant analytics on the back end, like you're doing with MailChimp, where you can see who's clicked through and done what, and spent time on what. And I was just wondering if you used Emma, just what the comparison was, because I know design agencies that were using Emma that switched over to MailChimp, and I'm hearing a lot like MailChimp was great and awesome.
Yes.
But I just didn't know how they compare, because I hadn't delved into it.
I'll have to research that and come back. The next time I do this panel, I'll have so much more information to add to it, but I'll definitely have to check that one out. And what can you tell us about Constant Contact? I think that's more of a larger business thing.
And so is Emma. And Emma allows different subscription rates.
Yes.
And I think Constant Contact does as well. I've used Constant Contact once about 4 years ago for a client, did not use them again because you spend a lot of time fighting with it to try to make it look like anything. Emma is more customizable, but it's broken down like, let's say, a small business, like let's say under 250, 500 people who you want to add to your list. You can upload Excel spreadsheets. So, with contacts and organize it. And so you can have different groups. Like let's say a family group where you have let's say your leather working. You want different just after that. So you can create different groups within Emma.
Is it free for Constant Contact, or do you have to pay?
I think that it's not free for either Emma or Constant Contact. I think they both allow for a trial. I know Constant Contact did.
Right.
But I'm glad I was interested in MailChimp. I just didn't know MailChimp was free.
It is free.
That's like a big piece of information I wasn't aware of.
There is a cap on the amount of people you can have on your mailing list, but I think it's in the thousands. So it's pretty high. But for those of you interested in newsletter services, I can't rave enough about MailChimp because there's just so many stats that you can look at. And speaking of stats, another useful tool if you want to monitor everything in your repertoire of social media or in your web pages, there's a tool called Google Analytics. And if you have a Google account, you can just sign up for that really easily. And what you can do is set it up with like a key that they give you. You put it on your web page, and it'll tell you how many people are visiting your page, how many of those people are new users, how many of those people. You need to stop talking now, Angela Alarm. You can also see how long people are on your website via Google Analytics. So that is a great way to monitor your websites. And any more questions real quick? Well, that was just a barrage of information. If you didn't get a handout, I have plenty. Please take them.
I don't want your handouts, lady.
Take it. Take it now.
I don't take charity.